Do you like sports manga? Do you like good old tournament arcs? Do you adore character growth and the power of friendship and rivalries? Yeah? Well, sick. But do you find yourself hoping that while all that stuff is happening, maybe, I don't know, there'd also be some hand holding, maybe some good old feeling sharing, some smooching even? Well, look no further, friend, because I've got you. Blue Box is everything you're looking for and more. It's a sports manga that also revolves heavily around a pretty strong romance, and I'm really into it, and I have a feeling you will too. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Before we get started though, I'd like to welcome you to MangAnalysis, where I do little reviews about the manga I've been reading. If you like what you see and would like to see more, make sure to subscribe and leave a like. Maybe even leave a comment. Let's get a conversation going. Blue Box starts with Taiki, a member of the badminton team. He's pretty good, but he's not the best. What he does have though is an unending drive to get better. What feeds that drive, you may ask? Well, it's none other than Chinatsu, the captain of the basketball team. See, Taiki has a big old crush on Chinatsu and figures that becoming better at badminton will finally get her to notice him. Literally, notice me, senpai. This all gets turned upside down when Chinatsu gets the opportunity to live with Taiki's house to avoid moving overseas with her family. She wants to stay in Japan and take her team to nationals. Taiki is shook. Whoa, living with Chinatsu? Pretty crazy. He then vows to 1, not be a creepy roommate, which is super great, and 2, to also make it to nationals himself. And there begins this awesome little story. My biggest fear coming into this series was that it was going to be another Suzuka. To be fair, I'm only 3 books in, so it still has time to become that, but so far so good. What I mean by that is that Suzuka started as a cool love story revolving around track and field, but it slowly but surely just became a romance and left the track and field to rot in the corner, which makes me sad because track and field is my jam. So far, Blue Box manages to perfectly balance the two. It does help that both characters are athletes and totally dedicated to their sport. In fact, his feelings for Chinatsu encourages Taiki to try even harder at badminton, which makes him realize he likes Chinatsu even more, which makes him want to get even better at badminton, etc, etc. There is never a time where I'm thinking, wow, I haven't seen Taiki swing a racket in a while, or oh gosh, when's the last time I had a deep monologue about Taiki's feelings for Chinatsu? What's also neat is that the friends' characters are also athletes at all times. Even when the main characters aren't around, chances are the other characters will be talking about their sport or romance or like exams or something, but they're always only an arm's length away from what I'm here for: badminton tournaments and the forever long quest to hold hands. Okay, so we're all aware of the childhood friend love rival trope, especially in romance. The main character has a childhood friend of the opposite sex, and while they're out trying to gain their crush's love, their friend sits back and suffers quietly, blah 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 blah. What's annoying is that unfortunately a lot of the time that's like the childhood friend's entire personality. They're always sad or chasing something you know they can't really get, and most of the time even you don't even want them to get what they want because that would mean the main couple falling apart, which like isn't really sick in a romance. Another way rivals or childhood friends are used in manga is they'll show up once the main couple has a problem. They have a falling out, the characters are sad, and then comes the rival friend who's like, oh, don't worry baby, I'm here, I won't hurt you, and then you're like, no, and then the couple get back together and they get thrown in the corner, which is not nice. Blue Box is different. We've got Hina. She's like Taiki's childhood friend thing who maybe has a crush on him. She's sick. I love Hina. She comes out very strong, establishes herself and her goals right off the bat, and by book 3, she's already grown and developed into a cooler version of herself. Hina has a strong personality and presence, and at no time does it feel like her entire being depends on Taiki at all. Taiki could die and she'd be fine. Like, she'd be sad and most likely super depressed, but she'd still have a life, she'd still have a personality, and she would find a way to thrive in her own way. I love that. I'm not going to talk specifics because, spoilers, but I'll say this. Honestly, if she ends up with Taiki, I won't even be mad. Which actually leads me to my next point. If there's actually one thing I don't necessarily love about this series, it's Chinatsu. So I feel like one of the most important things in a romance is the couple itself. You want to root for them, you want them to get together, and you want them to be happy together. That's why Rent a Girlfriend fails as a romance. The male lead sucks, and I wouldn't wish him on anyone, especially not Chizuru. I'm really enjoying getting to know Taiki because of how honest and expressive he is, but unfortunately I'm not really getting anything from Chinatsu. she's just too prim and proper. She's doing everything right, I guess. Too much so. I haven't gotten to see her fall apart or act poorly or show any real flaws. Like, I guess you will see her show flaws, but in the manga trope way in which it makes no sense. Like, you'll have her say something like, "Oh my god, I'm so selfish. I want to win this basketball game. I'm so horrible. Oh my god." No, give me real flaws. Like, give me a real reason to think that she may be a flawed human being. We see tons of those in Taiki, but that's okay because he's working on bettering himself. We see him question himself and then work hard to fix it, whether that be with badminton or with his friends and relationships. We don't see too much of that from Shinatsu. She says she has a problem, or she says that she's flawed, but we don't really see it, nor do we see her attempt to fix her problem, other than like go to basketball practice. I know it's still very early in the series, but I just wish I felt as strongly about her as I do with Taiki. So, would I recommend this series? Absolutely. If you like sports manga, you'll like this one. If you like romance, you'll like this one. Just keep in mind, it is a romance that focuses the majority of its time on the male lead, which may or may not impact your decision, but still, it's absolutely super good. The romance is clean, the sports scenes are dynamic and fun, and the comedy is on point. While I did mention that I wasn't a huge fan of Shinatsu, I have faith that I'll come around. And the rest of the cast, honestly, perfect. Really fun, varied, and somewhat unpredictable. We spoke about Hina, but there are a few other characters I could have spoken about. Easy recommendation. Well, that was my review of Blue Box. Now, I'd like to hear from you. Are there any other sports manga out there where you feel they did a good job of mixing sports and romance? Any sports manga you recommend just because you like them? Any other romances I should check out? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to know. I hope you enjoyed this little review, and if you did indeed enjoy it, consider subscribing. This was MangAnalysis, and I'll see you in the next one.